Cool down in the US coming in, a lot more natural disasters. Also, a volcano in Iran after 7,500 years has just awoken. These disasters seem to be happening and affecting a lot more people across the planet. It's much more visible. Starting off here with crops could be destroyed map of cooling. There's another low pushing down from Canada, early and colder than normal. As we see, this will take us through September 4th. That dark purple blotch, and then within that, you're going to see a different coloration of purple, brings us into somewhere around 20 to 25 Fahrenheit below normal. That, as you see, is over our crop zone, at least the northern part of it, into Canada as well. Haven't harvested those yet. So what does it take us to in terms of crop damage? Now, as we move forward through the 4th, you can see this thing expands, this cold front. And now it's coming into the corn belt, the wheat belt. This is where, if they haven't gotten it out of the fields, we might see freeze or frost damage on the crops. Now, again, how vast will this area be and how much of an impact would it have? Unknown, but it's happened in the past where there's been losses like this. And then it pulls, and then it pulls back, and then it expands once again through the 6th. So we're starting to get these different cooler temperatures across the grow zones of the United States and Canada. Again, will this affect? But look down in northern Mexico there in the Baja Peninsula, start to see some 20, 25 degree Fahrenheit below normal readings on that as well. Now, if this were to continue through the winter, this is going to be a very chilly one. But seems like the La Nina, Enso, whatever, is still unknown. So we won't really know until it happens as to what this winter will be like. The forecasts are all over the place because nothing's locked in on a pattern yet, but could be chilly. And when we get these divergent air masses later in the year, there's still a lot of moisture coming up from the Gulf. Really love the photo here. Got the rainbows in the tornado right at the leading edge there of that hook where the tornadoes form. But at the same time, we see the red sprites above the same, incredibly electrified storms at ground level. These are very high up. And what does it remind you of? Anything that you see in the intensity built out here? Would it look like a mythical creature? Would it look like a dagger thrown? Would it look like something Zeus in a thunderbolt? Would this resemble any types of eagles or some sort of almost squatter man building into the base forms here? If this stays in the skies for minutes at a time, do you think mythological stories might start to come back into play again? And would society be a little, let's say, unnerved if things like this were to repeat? Then we had this solar flare that hit the planet straight on earlier on the 1st, and it depends on where your Zulu time is in your time zone. Somewhere right around midnight on the 1st at 23 Zulu. And if you're going to take the time back here into America, 4 hours earlier. And here's the result for you in Scotland: Northern Lights, intense aurora. And then we start to have this energized atmosphere. Well, that would transition into the energized crust. Now, do we have any volcanic activity that spurred on during these same days? Yeah, Kilauea really starts to pound into some ferocity that's of note now, making news waves if you're taking a look. But the big thing is, as we look over, if you're getting close to retirement or just thinking ahead, you've probably done a solid job of saving. But here's something most people don't consider: how much of that money is just sitting in cash. It might feel safe, but holding too much cash guarantees one thing: you're losing purchasing power. Inflation eats away at it, and the dollar's value keeps slipping. That's why more people are looking at real assets like physical gold and silver to protect their savings. And one company makes that easy: Noble Gold Investments. You can buy gold, silver, coins, bars. They'll ship to your home, or you can have it stored securely. It's a smart way to convert cash into something that actually holds value. Visit 2030gold.com. That's 2030gold.com. Because when you own real assets, you own real wealth. And please remember, Noble Gold, fair, transparent. They're not going to pressure you. They're going to give you actual information and real options in which to make good decisions. Again, that's 2030gold.com. click on that link in the description box below. Over into Iran. This dormant volcano is called Damavad, and it's located north of Tehran. Began emitting smoke and gases, and you go, well, I'm not really familiar with Iranian volcanoes. Nobody really is, because the last time it erupted was 7,500 years ago. Now, if it was a puff of gas, you might be okay, but that's how much emissions there are coming out of it. This thing has reawoken. It was a dormant volcano for more than 7 millennia. Look at it here for you, before any activity, and they thought it was completely dormant, as you would expect after such a long time period. But here's some videos of it, people capturing this as they're driving. That's an enormous emission from a dormant volcano. Now, the thing about this, there's some mythology that sits behind it. The Persian myth of smoking coming out is a 3-headed dragon, Azi Dahaka, which symbolizes that good still triumphs over evil. This is incredible right now at this time, for this to awake, when we're in this juncture of history where we are actually seeing the battle between good and evil. Those on the dark side must be terrified of this thing reawakening, because as symbology goes, you can't tell me right now what's going on in Iran and what they're doing over there, who's fighting them, we're fighting, everything, and the world's upset, coming into financial contagion. We got everything hyperinflating, money systems changing, and then this thing goes off, and it signifies the good winning over the battle of good and evil. It's too, wow, apropos timing, right? Like, these are the things that were forecast in prophecy moving forward here. And it was of such importance that here it is on the Iranian banknotes for you. It has such a vestige and a central point of belief. This is definitely in the mind of people that you could awaken, that might have been defeated easily before. Now this is something that is mythological, that comes back. Beyond mythology, this just sends signals across the airwaves, across the planet. This can't be hidden, and I really think psychologically it's going to have a very big impact on how people behave and move from this point forward. Then moving to Japan, Shimodake volcano on Kyushu Island, leaving us a nice impression there. Any shapes that you recognize or not? I guess it's an ink blot for the skies. Taking us over to Texas, August 31st. I did not realize they had such rainfall events. That should have been all over the U.S. news, and here I am finding it on a weather bulletin site. That is an enormous amount of rain. I mean, look at the modern infrastructure compared to, and I would, challenge you everywhere in the world to look and find infrastructure that cannot handle or cope with what nature is throwing at us. Case in point, I'd reported on the Pakistan floods the other day, and saying that water was moving toward Lahore. Now their entire transportation networks has pretty much grown to a halt anywhere in the north and east of the country, heading down into central and further down toward the coast. This is what the roads look like. I mean, getting supplies in and out of supermarkets and that sort of thing, difficult at best. Should I bring you to the locust in Ukraine? Now, whatever crops they did have in the fields is going to be nibbled and munched by these insects here. This is not a small amount of insects. Now, to try to take care of this during a wartime situation, going to be a little difficult. Expect greater crop losses. But I want to bring you this global reported climate-related natural disaster by type slide here. And this is up through August 11th of 2025. So not currently to this month yet. It's a month behind. But if we do look at the amount of droughts, extreme temperatures, floods, storms, and wildfire damage that would have cost insurance companies or been claimed on, 2025 is kind of the lowest on the chart here since the year 2000. So, I mean, the last 25 years, we're at the lowest year here. And what you notice is the orange is not really visible, nor is the blue. So I think those two go together. The orange and the blue would be a set or a subset of each other, one driving the other. So what we're really looking at is floods, storms, and some sort of wildfires this year. The other subsets have disappeared, and you would ask why. I mean, they're barely even registerable at all across the categories. That's how minimal and how small it was. But when you look at the news feeds, you would, well, believe otherwise. Wildfires for sure, definitely, newsworthy, and they catch attention. The flames, people have been fascinated by fire for thousands of years, right? So it's not going to be different tomorrow. But the storms was interesting. It's smaller because we just haven't had a lot of hurricanes manifesting through the Atlantic Ocean with all the sand blowing off of Africa to suppress the formation. But then we look over at the floods. The floods seem to be a big one, although the amount of floods is, gigantic when they come, literally once in a 1,000-year floods all the time. There's not as many of them this year. And you look back at years prior, 2023, 2021, or even back to 2005, like those are significant. But when we look at today's world, I don't know, something has definitely changed, hasn't it? And something you don't see every day: blue dragons, beaches closed, southern Spain, poisonous sea creature. These blue dragons, deep sea, they're suddenly floating up and washing on the beaches. Now, what would make them leave their deep waters? Perhaps heating? Volcanic breakthrough? Not really sure, but they've banned all swimming on all the municipal beaches in certain areas of the country. Now, these things are more stinging and effect and painful than Portuguese man of wars, if you can believe that. So the gendarme police have closed beaches until a new order is issued that you can go back on the beach. So puts it into context, things are changing, and now we're talking about vast cycles. At 7,500 years, yeah, that's a game changer. We're in something much larger and more significant, especially with cosmic rays. When we come to solar minimum, we're going to get a lot more cloud cover, rain, volcanic activity, etc. Hope you got something out of the video. Please remember, support independent journalism. Monero or Pirate Chain, I put those deposit addresses in the description box below. Also, Ransom Godwin and myself, 2 hours on Thursday evenings talking about the same issues, 10 p.m. to midnight. We're broadcasting live on Rumble at the Civilization Cycle channel and also civilizationcycle.com. I appreciate your valuable time. Share with friends, family, get them into the conversation, see what they think about all these changes that are happening. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.